Hi there, welcome to the Garage. This week looking at 1 Corinthians 1 verses 10 to 18, Paul's teaching on unity. Paul teaches that unity is very important. We have the hint that it might be to do with sort of politics of human leaders. It might be to do with who people were baptized into. And then verse 17 and 18, for Christ did not send me to baptize, but to preach the gospel, not with wisdom and eloquence, lest the cross be emptied of its power. For the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to those of us who are being saved is the power of God. Paul speaks of the power and purpose of preaching, and he does so by basically saying, if you're using the rhetorical techniques of classical Greek oratory, or if you're using anything that is human-made to make your preaching seem powerful, then you're doing it wrong. And the reason for that is that the method should match the message. And the message of the gospel is that I have sinned and can do nothing in myself to save myself. I can only be saved because Christ has come and saved me by the grace of God. And so I have the peace of Christ. Nothing about me, all about Christ. So if the medium of that message, if the speech is, look at me, look how fine my argument, look how refined my rhetoric is, then the method is denying the message. The message is saying, look, we can do things that are good all on our own. We don't need God's help. Look how fine my speech sounds. And rather, Paul is really comfortable with the idea that his preaching may seem dry to those who are perishing. To those who are perishing, a sermon can sound like ramblings and nonsense and foolishness. But to those who are being saved, then even the most basic preaching, even the most rudimentary argument when based in the gospel, we should be able to recognise the power of God in that. And if we hear teaching and we just reject it as dull and boring, I think we need to be praying that God, open my heart to be set on fire by even the most, rustic of preaching practices. There should be nothing in the gospel that doesn't inspire and enlighten our hearts. And we should fear not the ridicule of people who are on a path to perishing. If we're going to a different place, if we're traveling a different journey, perhaps we shouldn't be surprised if what seems wise to one seems foolish to another. To those who are being saved, the gospel is the power of God. Just hope that encourages you to go and find a church locally where someone preaches, no matter how well or foolishly, but they preach the gospel. God bless, and I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.